welcome back to my channel. I'm coming to you today with a new video, and a video that is a little bit different than what I have had on my channel before, and it actually has nothing to do with books or the planner, but it is something that I talked about doing and you guys seemed pretty receptive when I mentioned it. Today we are going to be doing a plant tour, which is kind of like a house tour in my case because I have plants all over my house. If you follow me on Instagram, you may be aware that I have an obsession with houseplants. I absolutely love them. I think they have so many amazing benefits, both physically and like mental health wise. I have found that in my own life, taking care of houseplants has really helped me. I do have quite the collection. I think I have about 60 houseplants. They're all different kinds. I don't have too many repeats of the same type of plant. I have a couple of quick disclaimers before we get into the tour. First of all, I just wanted to say I'm not a plant expert at all. In fact, I've only started being a plant parent in the last probably like year and a half or so. So this is still relatively new for me, but I have enjoyed the process so far and it has definitely been a learning experience and I have learned a lot of new things. Definitely how to keep some plants alive, since that was something I really struggled with before I got into this. I couldn't keep a plant alive at all. But I really wanted to, and so it was something I really worked at and did a lot of research and tried new things and tried easy to care for plants, and then it kind of just expanded. Second disclaimer is I'm going to try my best to say the names of the plants as they are, but I'm probably going to butcher them because some of them are hard to pronounce, so I'm sorry about that. Oh, thirdly, quite a few of my plants are not necessarily pet safe, and if you are aware, I do own a dog. I have a German Shepherd. He has never touched a plant. He doesn't go near them. He doesn't care about them at all. Just keep that in mind if you are looking to have plants in your house. Maybe do some research. I know cats in particular are not quite so friendly towards plants, so make sure you're doing your research before you bring a plant into your home if you do have pets. Just wanted to throw that all out there before we get started. Yeah, let's jump into all of the plants and I hope you enjoy this video. Okay, so the first plant that I'm going to start out with is this Jade Pothos, which I have named Tony. You will notice throughout the video that I have my own names for a lot of the plants that I own. Anyway, this is Tony, and it's because I love this plant 3000 and because it is like 3,000 feet long. As I mentioned, it is a Jade Pothos. Pothos are one of my favorite plants ever, but I have this, it's right sitting on top of a closet when you first walk into my house, and it just drapes all the way down. And this plant has grown like crazy since we first got it. It is very happy where it is, and we've actually trimmed it quite a few times already, and it is in need of another trim. We just take those trimmings and we put them in water until they root. After they root, we plant them and we have a whole nother plant. Pothos are a great plant because they function in both high light and low light, and they can do very well in either situation. They're very easy to care for plants. So this is what it looks like when you first enter my house. I'm actually standing right in the front door right now. So we have Tony the Pothos is up there, and then we have this little table with a bunch of plants on it, and we have a bunch of hanging plants in this window. This room gets primarily the most light. I'm going to show you all of the plants in this window area next. Okay, next up we have Ava the Avocado. And this plant is my husband's pride and joy. We grew it right from a pit, and it is about 10 months old now. So I will insert a photo of what it looked like last December so you can kind of see how much it's grown. I'm really excited for it to keep growing and keep getting bigger. Next up we have Drake, which is a Fiscus microcarpa ginseng plant, I believe. And I thought it looked like a mandrake from Harry Potter, which is why it is named Drake. But I just love how like weird and unique this plant is, and it's definitely one of my favorites. It's also one of the newest that we have added to the collection. And then just below that, we just have this little turtle plant pot here with a little succulent in it. I'm not entirely sure what the succulent is. Really, I just love the plant pot. Next, we have a Pylea peperomides, which is also known as a Chinese money plant or a UFO plant because of the shape of the leaves. They're just this like round, almost like a coin shape. And this plant I have named Leia, and it is so weird and strange, but I just think it's really, really cool and unique. Next, we have a money tree, also known as a Guiana chestnut, I believe that's how you say it, and the trunk here is all braided, which I think is really cool, and these can get quite big, so I'm excited for that one. Then in front of that, we just have another small plant pot with a succulent. This one actually came out of our garden outside. It had kind of become loose and trampled, and so we took it and brought it inside and tried to rescue it, and now it has this cute little new growth in it, which I think is awesome. And next we have the lemon tree, which we have named Snicket after Lemony Snicket. And this one actually came from a lemon seed that my mom grew, and then she gave us the plant when it was probably about 2 inches tall, and so this is how much it has grown since then. Next we have the String of Hearts, which is also a new addition to my collection. This plant I've named Catherine after the main character in Heartless, which is a Queen of Hearts retelling, so I thought it was fitting. But Catherine has these beautiful heart-shaped leaves, and it just is draping over the edge of the table here. Next up we have Phoebe, the Fiddly Fig. So Fiddly Figs are a pretty tricky plant to grow. They're pretty finicky, but we've had pretty decent luck with this one so far, which, crossing my fingers, it continues that way. I love Fiddly Figs. They also can get pretty big. They can become like a massive tree, so that's what I'm hoping for with Phoebe. Okay, moving on to all of the plants hanging in the window. This is a marble pothos, so similar to Tony, who is a Jade Pothos. This one's leaves are kind of like marbly, so you can kind of see here. Yeah, so it's just a different variation of a pothos. This is Milo, after Venus de Milo. Moving on, we have the String of Pearls, which is another awesome plant. It has these beautiful little pearls that hang down. When we first got this one, you couldn't even see it over the top at all, and luckily we have all of these little cascades coming down, and it's really starting to fill out, which is always fun to see. Next up, we have a Dancing Bones Cactus. This plant was actually a gift from one of my husband's clients. I think this one flowers actually, so that will be fun to see. Okay, next up we have this one here, which I'm sorry, I don't actually know what it is, and I actually think it kind of looks like a weed, so we've named it Eeyore because we don't know what it's called. And then the last hanging plant we have is this Wandering Jew, which is a beautiful purple color, and we named this plant Leslie. And actually we've taken a bunch of cuttings from this one and given it to a lot of friends and family because it's one of the easiest plants to propagate. I love how like vibrant and colorful it is, and it has just a really nice like wavy flow to it. Okay, so moving on, we're going to take a look at all of the plants on the TV stand and beside it. First up, we have this Birds of Paradise, which was actually on my plant wish list for a really long time. We just saw one a couple of weeks ago, so we decided to pick one up. So this plant is relatively new to our collection, and we just repotted it in this little plant stand here. We don't have a name for it yet, so if you have a clever name for a Birds of Paradise plant, let me know in the comments. Okay, next we have a zebra plant, which is also pretty new to our collection, and I love how vibrant the leaves are and how crisp. And this plant also is incredibly easy to tell when it wants to be watered because it kind of just deflates, and so that's how you know it needs water. And behind the zebra plant we have this String of Turtles. So we just have in this really tall plant pot, and we're hoping it will kind of cascade down it. Okay, next we have the Sweetheart plant, which is of the Hoya family. It's shaped like a heart. I don't know that much about this plant at all, in fact, but I just thought it was too cute not to buy. Next, we have the Peperomia obstifolia. I think I'm saying that right, but we just call it Pepper. This one actually is a really lovely plant. I really, really enjoy having this plant. But yeah, it's just all around like a really nice looking plant. Okay, and then we have another Pylea here. This one was actually a gift, but we have it in this really cute little plant pot that says, "Plant Lady is the new cat lady." Okay, and then we have James, the rubber plant, which is actually getting a new leaf, which is really exciting. I'm happy to see that. I love rubber plants. They can get quite large as well, so I'm hoping that this one does. Then we have an aluminum Pylea, which is similar to a regular Pylea, except it has these beautiful markings on the leaves. I've named this plant Logan because it kind of reminded me of the Wolverine being named aluminum, which I know is not the same, but it's just what came to mind, so yeah. Okay, and then we have this plant here, which is a Croton Plant. I think that's how you say it. I've named it Aline after the main character in the Throne of Glass books because these leaves have the like fiery red on them, which it just kind of reminded me of her. It's in this beautiful dragon egg shaped plant pot, which is one of my very favorites of the collection. And then next we have a pink princess plant, which we've named Peach after Princess Peach from Mario. And this plant is really cool. It's in this adorable little fox planter, which I think is amazing because it's my favorite animal. But the leaves have these like pink markings on them, which I just think are really unique and different. And yeah, it's a cute little plant. Next we have a prayer plant, which is in the Calathea family, I believe. I've named this plant Teresa after Mother Teresa, and it's just got this brand new leaf back here, which is really exciting. These plants love humidity. That's why you'll notice the brown tips here. That just means it's not getting enough humidity because of my location and like the dryness of the air right now. Otherwise, it's very happy. We've never really had any problems with it, and it's just a beautiful plant to have. Okay, and next we have this beautiful dragon tree, which we have named Dracaris, obviously, how could we not? But it also has a braided stem, which I just think is like such a cool little touch to have on a plant. And then down below that we have Anna the banana plant, which when we first got her, she had 2 leaves, and so she's grown quite a bit here, and she's getting a new leaf right here, which is very exciting to see. I always love to see when my plants have new growth. And then behind that, we have the elephant ears named Earl, which actually one of my followers on Instagram named because I couldn't think of a name. And so I sent out a poll and someone suggested Earl, and I just thought it was the perfect name for the elephant ears. Okay, next I'm going to show you all of the plants here on my bookshelf, but I'm going to take them down so that you can kind of see an up-close look at them. Okay, first up we have this one, which I don't actually know what this plant is. I have no idea, so if you have an idea, let me know in the comments. It's a beautiful plant, and I wish I knew what it was, but unfortunately I don't. Next we have this one here, which is a begonia, which we actually got the cutting for this plant from my mother-in-law. Once we got it, we put it in water and it rooted, and then we just recently planted it. I don't know that much about begonias. It seems pretty happy here, and that's it. And then beside the begonia, we have this ivy here, which we've named Pamela after Poison Ivy from the DC universe. And it's just a really nice plant to have in this corner here. We're hoping it fills out a little bit more, but it just has this really nice like movement to it, which I just think is really beautiful. Next we have this beautiful plant here, which has bright red underneath the leaves. And I believe this is a Piper ornatum. I hope I'm saying that right. We call this plant Alexis. It gets really moody if you don't water it when it wants to be. It's really dramatic. It just kind of like deflates. And anyway, so we named it Alexis after the character on Schitt's Creek because she's super dramatic too. So it just kind of fit. Okay, this one was too heavy for me to hold, so I'm just going to rest it here on my bookshelves. But this is a Pinstripe Calathea, and it really likes humidity, which is why you'll see a couple of the brown tips here. I really love the leaves on this one because I think it looks like they're hand painted, but the underneath is actually like this beautiful eggplant purple color. So yeah, all around it's a really beautiful plant. Okay, this one I brought all the way down because it was too heavy for me to hold. But this is an Alocasia poly, which we have named Victor because I think it's really creepy. I don't know, it kind of reminded me of like something you would see in a Tim Burton movie. It seemed kind of villainous to me. So this is Victor, which is named after Victor Vale from The Vicious, a book by Victoria Schwab. It's really cool. Like it has these like almost arrow-shaped leaves. The back has this like purple texture kind of thing on it. I had this plant on my wish list for a really long time. Okay, and the last plant that we have in our living room is this Monstera deliciosa, also known as a Swiss cheese plant. This plant actually is not ours. We are plant sitting for my brother-in-law and my sister while they are moving houses. We've had this plant for like 8 months now, and it is loving being in our house, so I think we might have a bit of a custody battle when they try and take it back in a couple of months. Okay, so that was a look at all of the plants in my living room here and in front of the window. But yeah, now we're gonna move into the kitchen so you get a look at what plants are there. Okay, first up in our kitchen is another Fiddly Fig, but this one is special because it is a rescue. We noticed a couple of months ago that our neighbors down the street were moving, and they were throwing out this Fiddly Fig, who was incredibly damaged. It was kind of falling apart, and it just was not well cared for. So my husband walked down and he got the plant and we rescued it. It is doing so much better now. So excited to see all of this new growth with no damage. Yeah, this is Sid, the rescue Fiddly Fig. Okay, and then coming up to our kitchen above our sink, we just have a windowsill here, so I'll just quickly show you what's on there. Okay, first up we have this Arrowhead Plant here, which we kind of have been rescuing it after it had a lot of damage. The leaves are just shaped like arrows, and it seems to be doing pretty well here in the window. And then beside that, we have these cute little propagation stations, just like little test tubes, which we'll take a cutting and then we'll let it root. So this is from that Wandering Jew plant, and you can kind of see all the roots in there. And then we just have a couple other ones in here as well. And then we have Henry, the Venus Flytrap, which is doing beautifully and catching all the flies in our house. And it has this really cute little Mario-inspired plant pot that my husband made. And then we just have a couple of other little plants that we're either like rescuing or just starting out, or they were gifts and we're trying to like see if they make it before we move them into something bigger. And then we just have like a little basil plant here that we just started. And then moving along, we have our coffee bar in our kitchen as well. So I'll go over what plants we have on here. So this plant is a dumb cane. It has these beautiful like pattern leaves, and the leaves get so big. So like this is my hand. So and we have a new leaf coming in back here, which is really awesome to see. Above here on the wall, we have a succulent on the wall in this little hanging plant pot. I'm not sure the type of succulent it is. I just think it looks really cute there on the wall with some of our art. And then down here beside our coffee maker, the plant was actually a gift, so I'm not entirely sure what it is, but I believe it is some type of Dracaena. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's what it is. And then beside the coffee bar, we have our own Monstera. Don't fret, we do actually own our own that we'll keep. So we've named this plant Sarah, and it does have a new leaf here that is ready to uncurl. And the last plant that we have in our kitchen is this one here, which is a Ming Aralia. To me, it looks like a little tree, which I just think is so fun. Alright, next I'm going to show you some of the plants in my office. So this is where I work, so you'll also be getting a little tour of my home office and kind of seeing where Little Inklings is run out of. First things first, I'll just show you like a little 360 view of my office. So we just have like my main computer area here, and then over here we have my shipping and packaging area where I have like store all my products and our packaging material, and I use the desk to package. And then over here we just have a little kind of reading area with some art on the wall and a chair and my reading nook, which is one of my favorite features of my office. And then lastly, we just have this little table with some books and plants on it. So yeah, that is a quick look at my office, but let's get into a bit more detail about the plants I have in here. So firstly, this office doesn't get a lot of natural light. It does in the mornings, but not so much in the afternoons. So a lot of the plants that I have in here are really good in low light. So if that is your situation, some of these plants might be really good for you. First of all, we have an aloe plant, which I'm actually rescuing. My mom gave it to us and it was not in the best shape when she gave it to us. It is bouncing back, which is really exciting. And then beside that, we have this little cactus. And then beside that, we have this giant Zizi plant, which we have named Frank. Zizi plants are probably one of the easiest plants to grow. They need very little. They don't need a lot of light. They don't need a lot of water. They're very forgiving. The only thing is, this is a toxic plant, so if you do have pets or maybe babies who like to chew on plants, I wouldn't recommend this one. Just do your research before you get a plant and see how it is with pets and kids. Next up, we have a spider plant. This plant is named Peter after Peter Parker. Spider plants are another plant that can thrive in low light, and it's really easy to take care of. It doesn't need a ton of water. It's very forgiving. I find that the leaves get kind of dull when it wants to be watered. Spider plants are another really easy to care for plant. And then next up we have this beautiful bunch of snake plants, which unfortunately this plant is not mine either. We are also plant sitting this plant for my brother-in-law and sister until they get their new house. So it is not mine, but I think as soon as they take it back, I'll probably be replacing it with my own version because I think that this one is beautiful and I love it in this basket here. Another easy to care for low light plant. Okay, and then moving on to the plants I just have on this little table here. So I have another spider plant, which this is the first plant that I ever got. It's the first house plant that I have managed to keep alive. So this is Charlotte, another spider plant named after the spider in Charlotte's Web. This was kind of the plant that got me started on my love of houseplants. Okay, moving on, we have this like spiky succulent cactus type thing, which honestly has seen better days. I have really bad luck with succulents and cactuses. I don't know what it is, but I can't keep them alive. So this one has been a bit of a battle, but it's still hanging on, so hopefully that will continue. Next up, we have this watermelon Peperomia, and it is another pretty new plant to our collection. I just love the pattern on the leaves. They look like little watermelons. Actually, this is kind of an experiment to see how it does in my office. If it needs more light, then I'll definitely move it out with the other plants, but I just think it's such a cute little plant. Then the last plant that we have in my office is another Jade Pothos, but the interesting thing about this plant is that this is basically the daughter of Tony, the giant Jade Pothos we have in our living room. So like I mentioned before, we take cuttings from that plant and we put them in water until they root. And then after they have a significant root growth, then we transplant it into soil and plant it. So we took about 4 different cuttings and put it in this pot here. As I said, these plants can thrive in both high light and low light. So this is a great example because we have one in each situation and they are doing well in both. Okay, and lastly, I'm just going to show you the plants that we have in our bedroom. So we don't have a lot. This is our bedroom here. We have a corner bed, which I'm really excited about. I love corner beds. I just think they're really unique and different. My husband actually built this one for me. And we just have my vanity and some art on the walls. And then on the other side, we have a mirror along with some wood shelves that my husband also built for me. We haven't entirely finished decorating in here, which is why it is a little bit sparse. The shelves still need a little bit of work. It's kind of a work in progress, but I still want to show you the plants that I have in here. First up on the shelf here, we have a Boston fern, which we have named Bean. Boston ferns are another plant that do pretty well in low light. They also do really well hangings, and they also do pretty well outside. You can do quite a bit with Boston ferns. Okay, next up we have a Sansevieria Cylindrical, which basically is a cylindrical snake plant, which I have named Jamie because it reminded me of the stones from Outlander. I know it's like a little bit ridiculous, but that's what it is. It's pretty slow growing, doesn't need a whole lot, and it doesn't need a lot of light. And I just love how different and unique it is. Next up, we have a bit of experiment. So this is a bunch of cuttings we took from snake plants and we rooted them. We put them all in water until they rooted, and then we have planted them all together in this long plant box. We're kind of just gonna see what happens. Okay, and then up here, this is one of the first plants I ever got. Along with Charlotte, we got this one, who is Tom, a snake plant. I'll take it down so you can kind of see what the inside looks like. So this is what Tom looks like. It's just a little bit different than the other snake plant you've seen, which is why I wanted to show you. And also that Tom is one of the first plants we ever got, and also kind of started this journey. The last plant I'm going to show you is this one here, which is a Bella palm. Honestly, I have no idea why this plant is still alive. This is a pretty shadowed corner. It doesn't get a lot of light, but we've had this plant for a while and it's still doing really well, and it's been getting some new growth lately. So obviously we're doing something right. Okay, so that is a look at all of our plants, and I hope you enjoyed the tour. I hope you enjoyed seeing a little bit about my house and where I work. The plants, I hope you enjoyed seeing all the plants. I know there's a lot, so I know I didn't go too much into the plants and how to care for each one, and that's just because I didn't want this video to be 1,000 years long, so I tried to keep it short and sweet. Obviously this video is kind of going to be long to begin with because of the quantity of plants, but if you did have any questions about any of the plants I showed, be sure to leave a comment and I'll try and get back to you. If you guys have any houseplants, I'd love to hear about what plants you have, or if you're thinking about getting a house plant, let me know what you're thinking of getting. If you enjoyed this video, video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already, I would love if you would subscribe to my channel. And if you don't want to miss a video, be sure to turn on the little bell to be notified when I post. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.